What's going on, everybody? C4 here. Welcome back to the channel for part 2 of the introduction to our NCAA 14 series. This series here, we come in and out. Sometimes it's Savage God, flares up. It's almost split personality, bipolar, whatever you want to call it. But that is the way it's going to be presented. We come in and out. You never know who's here, who's actually there at C4. It's a little bit of Savage, little, like I said, that bipolar, that other personality, that split personality. Sometimes he'll come up. Sometimes he will. But for today's sake, we're going to be trying to lay down the groundwork, at least in the opening part of this video, of what you are going to be seeing here for this NCAA 14 series, what kind of settings you're going to be rocking and rolling with. And I'm always going to be looking for suggestions to fine-tune these sliders and give the best gameplay experience possible. So let's get into it. All right, so here are going to be the options that we're going to start with. It's been such a long time since I've dived into a franchise, so I've looked. I know Mr. Hurricane he's probably, I would like to consider the NCAA guy. The College Bowl Dynasty is ridiculous. So I'm kind of using what he's used, kind of looking at Operation Sports. We're going to start on All-American, aka All-Pro for the time being, and then hopefully move our way up to Heisman. I turned fatigue off. Now, this is a polarizing one within the community. Some people say fatigue on, fatigue off. I usually like it off, personally. I feel like it keeps your best players on the field. You get less cheese, but we definitely can look to fine-tune it. Literally, the two people that I've been looking at, 4 sliders, one has them on, one has them off. We go an 8-minute quarter length, which is a little bit shorter than what we usually do. The Raiders and Bucks, we do 12 minutes. I think we'll start at 8. That, we could definitely maybe even go 10 at a later date, but we'll start with 8 for the time being. Speed threshold 25. I think that's what Mr. Hurricane had his at. So I was like, certainly. Now, when you look at the rules, it's one of those myths that I don't know if it's confirmed or not, but I try to, err on the side. Let's trust the guys whose job is to make sliders. Like that's their thing. Like, I'm a rebuild guy, okay? You look at rebuild help, tips, and tricks, you're going to listen to me. But people that do sliders, I'm going to look at them. And penalties, they always say penalties adjust and change some of the animations and stuff like that you get. I'm not going to go as high. Like, this guy that was on Operation Sports had, like, OPI and DPI, like, 99. I always feel like when you start messing around with that, like we saw it in Madden 20, where they had offsides in the 90s. We start messing around with things like that. Actually, we'll knock these up to 75. I feel like it's a little too extreme, so we'll go higher than usual. All these at base are usually at 50, so we're knocking offsides, false start up to 75. Holding's getting a little bit of a bump. 59 face mask, as you can see there. And then for the AI, I'm going to be relying on Mr. Hurricane here just a little bit. These were his last sliders that he posted that we're going to be utilizing there. 20 for QB accuracy. Everything else is fairly in the middle. The QB accuracy is the only one that's off. And I remember the last time we probably did a franchise, I had QB accuracy at like 5, and that was just a little too unrewarding. So I'll trust Kane on this one. So yeah, both QBs are at 20. These are pretty much consent. I mean, this is a Super Bowl game. You probably should know your sliders, but I felt like we'll just show the grassroots, what's going on under the hood, for a nice 2-minute chunk of this video. But let's go meet with the team. Let's go find out what decision we made for Tom Savage, the Savage God. So the offer we got from UAB sounded pretty good, but ultimately it was the first team we crossed off our list. You know what I'm thinking? I'll go to UAB. All there is really Nick Saban. You're always just going to be competing against Nick Saban every single time I do anything. It's going to be, well, what did Nick Saban do? Anytime we reach another milestone with the team, it's going to be, well, what did Nick Saban do? Oh, did you get some big recruits? Well, look at the bigger recruits Nick Saban got. I felt like that was a headache I didn't really want to deal with. And, I mean, regardless of where we choose to go, all these other avenues still open. I didn't, knowing Tom Savage, knowing what we do, we didn't burn any bridges. We didn't slam any doors. Regardless of where I go, I'm still going to be a hot commodity. These other teams, we could double back. I could accomplish everything I set out to do with our first team, and then we could work our way back through all these other offers. All these offers still remain on the table for future years, but for right now, UAB, you ain't getting this rose. Hawaii was the next off our list, just because their team right now, they got some dudes that are going to be going to the NFL. Okay, I don't want someone else's stench over my team, over my prospects. Hawaii, while it does have a pretty good pipeline, I mean, those guys want to get away from the island. These guys are Tuas. You look at the Vita Veas, all those guys, they want to get as far away from Hawaii as possible. That's why they're going to the Pac-12. That's why they're starting to creep into the SEC, the Big Ten. I think recruiting will be a little bit more difficult. And while I love the idea of building a fortress, you have to come into Hawaii. We're going to rename the island. It's going to be Savage Island. You know, it's going to sound like a shitty reality show, but it's going to be Savage Island. This is probably the biggest one that I might want to come back to someday. Taking Hawaii from the Mountain West, be able to take them in the Pac-12, make them into a legit contender. You know, when before she's all said and done here for Tom Savage, I think we may have to revisit Hawaii, but for right now, it's just not the right decision for me. So that leaves us with two teams. We have the new kid on the block, the brand new school, Savage U, Miami Tech, with unbelievable jerseys and just the highest ceiling to make and create something of our own. Or North Texas, go into the biggest state, the biggest football state, trying to take chicken shit and turn it into chicken salad. And then, vicariously live through this mean green team and try to slowly take over and eat away at the Dallas Cowboys. No matter what, that would be the goal, is trying to make North Texas Mean Green the most popular team in the state of Texas, regardless of collegiate or professional. That sounds so good. So, without further ado, we will be taking our to Miami Tech. It was really, really tough to go between North Texas and Miami. I'm going to be honest with you. The offers from Hawaii, the offers from UAB, they were nice, but I thought all along I was going to go North Texas. I just building something there in the state of Texas that could eventually grow to be legendary, iconic. I thought that was pretty good, but they're already named after someone. They're already named after Mean Joe Green. I was like, whoa, okay, this got some history to it. So, it's not the complete package. And out of nowhere, this brand new school, I don't even know we have a stadium, this brand new school, Miami Tech, came up with the Brinks truck, so much money, literally unlimited freedom. I can do what I want, when I want, how I want to do it. I can recruit who I want, when I want, how I want to recruit them. This new transfer portal with everyone, if you're not a starter, you want to flip-flop to a team, hey, how about Miami Tech, brand new school, brand new facility, state-of-the-art, everything, an unreal amount of boosters and financial backing. Shout out to the IMG Academy. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. Year one, though, I've seen what we have to work with for our roster. I'm going to have to probably try and do a little bit of recruiting to see if we can get some of these guys down here, below the Bible Belt over there, down here in South Beach. We're going to need to get some guys probably flipped because right now our team, not very good. Not very good. We have everything else except the roster, but the fact that we can have a chance to build our own legacy, take this brand new school. We're in the American, UCF's there. They're probably very upset that I've taken this job. They're probably very upset that someone may actually be able to take some of their shine away from the state of Florida, this undefeated national championship garbage. Bullshit. I'm going to come in and I'm going to smoke them, and I'm going to beat every single team, especially in the state of Florida, until we get an offer from either the SEC, the ACC. Who wants it? Does Dabo want some? Does Dabo want these hands? Does Nick Saban? I have so many avenues where I can take this team that for the time being, it was the best landing spot for Tom Savage, myself. It's a perfect match made in harmony. I'm not going to let you go before we meet some of these players on this team. But it's Savage U. Let's go. Savage U. Let's go. Did I stutter, Junior? So now that we're in the American, it's time to show off our coaching staff, which is almost as important as, any of these players, because I need these guys that can go in and recruit with me, that can find the best recruits, that can relate to these kids. And you look at the American, not a whole lot going here. You got Dana Holgerson leaving West Virginia, going to Houston. He's the big dog right now. Houston, they're trying to flex on us a little bit, but I'm not worried about Dana Holgerson. Tell you that for damn sure. So you look at me, we got Tom Savage, head coach, Miami. You already believe it. So at DC, I wanted to get someone with some NFL experience. I want someone the kids could relate to. Came available. We got Pac-Man Jones. Spent some time in the NFL, Cincinnati, Tennessee, Dallas, Denver. We're talking about a guy, punt return machine. One of the best punt returners. Never took a fair catch in his life. That's just kind of his mentality. 17 career picks. Played in over 150 games. I mean, this guy here, 7 forced fumbles, 500 tackles. He knows how to get the job done. He expressed some interest. He wasn't cheap. He wasn't actually cheap. This guy completely content with sitting on the couch playing video games I said, you know what? We're starting to build something special in Miami. I think someone with your attitude that can relate to the kids is going to be phenomenal here. And we're able to get him locked up. And at OC, pink slip legend, out of the NFL. I don't know how this man was out of the NFL. He's young, doesn't have a whole lot of experience. But look what happened to me. You know, the Columbus Explorers gave me the head coaching job. I had no experience. I took a garbage team, the worst team in the league on paper, and made them 11-1. So I'm not one to discriminate against someone with a lack of experience. So P.L. Mullins, running back, was a legend for the Detroit Lions, was a legend for the Toronto Huskies. And I said, you know what? You want a job? I know for sure shit you can execute my game plan. We had great chemistry on the field. Now what about off the field? So that is my year one coaching staff. Pac-Man Jones at defensive coordinator, P.L. Mullins offensive coordinator. In my biased opinion, it doesn't even matter. The best coaching staff in the American Conference. Josh Heupel, trash. Our quarterback is Julius Ervin, redshirt freshman, positive, speed off the charts, 81 throw power is the most out of our quarterback room, and prototypical size, 6'4", 205. Now, the negative is his 75 accuracy is the lowest on the team. Had some off the field issues. Got kicked off of West Alabama for point shaving. But as long as we keep his head on the straight and narrow with his athletic traits, should be successful. His favorite target is tight end Rudy Carlson, a junior, highest catching on the team with an 82 overall, prototypical size, 6'6", 260. We convinced him in a role. He previously played for the Berlin Rebels in the German Football League. Maybe this is a way to get a pipeline established, get some of these top talents with school eligibility left from Europe. And the monster, the highest overall on our squad, D-tackle Jovan Wilkerson, redshirt junior, the highest overall on this team, bringing 89 strength, a freak of nature. This guy is a monster in the weight room. 78 finesse move also tops the team. Likely our first candidate to be selected in the draft if that comes down to it. He's a JUCO transfer, originally committed to Tennessee as a 4-star recruit. I think grades, something like that, but you don't come to Miami Tech to play school. Don't worry about it. He's in good hands here. And finishing up at wide receiver, we have T.C. Rich, a junior. He is the highest overall offensive player on the squad with an 82 overall. Good mix of speed, 91 burst, 93 acceleration, and highlight reel catchability with 83 spectacular catch. A knee injury 2 years ago at UCF caused him to have a medical retirement, but after extensive rehab, he's ready to play again. So you met some of the big studs. Let's show you the rest of the roster quickly. I did one hell of a job given the situation we're putting. So you met Julius Ervin. Let's just hope this kid keeps his head on straight. He's sure we were very relatable. It was easy conversation to get him to come commit to Miami Tech. Beyond that, though, not a lot. We got some young guys, but probably got to recruit another quarterback. But he's a redshirt freshman. We hopefully, if he stays on the field, we're going to have him for at least 3 more years. The running backs, Ramon Bostic will be our starter. A little bit undersized, 5'9", 209, can catch the ball fine. Great acceleration, great burst out of the hole. Can make a lot of guys miss. We don't have much depth. I pretty much had to prioritize getting big-time starters. But Ricky Singleton, the sophomore from Pinewood, Florida, he's probably like one of our top depth guys that we might have a future with. But I'm hoping him and Bostic can kind of carry the load for the squad. At wide receiver, you met T.C. Rich. Outside of that, we got J.P. or John Paul Bradford, the senior from Rockledge, Florida. Kind of more of a technician, well-rounded type player. We have Peter Northcutt, the sophomore, 6'5", 225. I considered having him bulk up, having him eat nothing but hoagies and Twinkies all offseason and get him be a tight end. But with Carlson emerging at tight end, the guy you already met, maybe he can be a possession guy. I don't know, but definitely needs to add a little bit of speed as that is not his game. We have 2 fast players here in Dion Dallas, redshirt freshman, and Devron Rollins. Both have 93 speed, but both have absolute bricks for hands. Must have went to like a Nelson Aguilar training camp, 64 catching, 61 catching. You see the drops, it shows up on tape. It showed up all training camp, but hey, maybe we can get some value from them out of special teams. Tight end, Rudy Carlson. I mean, that may be a pipeline we try to keep going back to. You know, the German Football League, some of these places up in Europe, any guys that could return back to America, enroll, and still have some eligibility left, that is some added value. So Rudy Carlson hopefully can be that pathway, but outside of that, not a lot of talent there. Flipping to the offensive line, it was really tough. This was without a doubt the hardest of the group, because if you're a good O-line, you can play pretty much anywhere. So we're pretty much picking on the scraps here. We got Cole Reinhardt, redshirt junior, left guard. We got Monte Jackson, Nick Hart at centers, pretty solid. He kind of reminds me a A little bit of Jason Kelsey. When I was in the league, you watch Philadelphia Eagles, Kelsey could get out and move. I kind of see some similarities there in his play style to Nick Hart's. Guard, we have Vernon Pruitt, and at tackle, Mickey O'Rourke, another player coming from Europe. We got him from Ireland. Not a lot of tape, but very, very strong. I think he did some like amateur strongman type stuff. From a technical aspect, not really good, but if he can square you up, he's got to pin your ass on the ground. Defensively, we have Delance Bradley, the sophomore. Now we want to run a 4-2-5, 4-3 style defense at 6'6", 270. A little big, but his burst isn't too bad. I'm very optimistic that he could maybe emerge as a face of our defense when, another guy that we're going to talk about moves on. Dwayne, not a lot of depth at defensive end. These guys did not, generally speaking, generate a lot of pressure in training camp. Maybe have a false narrative of our quarterbacks because they just weren't getting disrupted. The pocket was clean more often than not. So, it could be a cause and effect type scenario because our DNs generally, outside of Delance Bradley, aren't very good. At D tackle, Jovan Wilkerson, the JUCO transfer, former 5-star recruit. I legitimately think he is our first player that could get drafted, which would be awesome. Absolutely awesome. I'm in it for me, first and foremost. But being able, in my first year, he might declare, I don't know yet, to put a player in the NFL, that's really going to help for recruiting going on forward. So sky's the limit here for Jovan Wilkerson. We have Quincy Cannon. Again, another undersized JUCO. No one really wanted a 6 feet tall, 200. Generally, he's undersized everywhere. Not fast. Doesn't really show up on tape. But from a technical standpoint, when he grabs onto you, this guy here is like a log splitter. You are not going anywhere when those big friggin' biceps lock around someone. So I'm hoping. Undersized John Randall said he was too small. Aaron Donald said he was too small. And you guys are going to see pop off tape Quincy Cannon. Got to make some plays for this defense. Colin Cabral, grad transfer, very smart type player. He's a senior, so hopefully he can teach a thing or two to some of the younger linebackers that we have on the squad. Middle linebacker Benny Vasher, solid. Desi Weaver, much like Singleton, what's the Singleton? What the hell is this guy's name? Ricky. I just call him Ricky. Ricky Singleton might be the best depth player on our team with a role that could potentially expand next year with Vasher going to be graduating. All right, outside linebacker, here's a surprising playmaker. Preston Andrews, 6'4", 215 out of Pensacola. This guy didn't look much of anything. Really, really lean, like a beanstalk, but he made plays in training camp. I think he could be a guy that we really want to watch and keep an eye on as the season progresses. Rico Booker, the senior from Kathleen, Florida, is our best player in our secondary. Made a bunch of plays. He's a guy that can and hopefully will shadow and lock down the opposing team's top wide receivers. Outside that, though, there just wasn't a lot of corners. Tried to get athletes. Those guys would go to JUCO. Didn't really want to come here. I actually got the middle finger from a bunch of guys that wanted to go to JUCO rather than come to Miami Tech, which was incredibly frustrating. So, it could be a long day. I do feel like this is going to be year one of Miami Tech. Let's flex our muscles. Very similar to what we saw with the Columbus Explorers. We're going to have to outscore our opponents a lot of games. Free safety, we have Lou McQueen, the senior, another grad transfer from Florida International. I'm hoping he can make some plays and kind of teach a thing or two to some of these young bucks on the defense. Mikal Parham might have to look at trying to flip him to corner. We are so weak at the cornerback spot, but generally speaking, these guys' coverage ability, it's not amazing, but you got here, it's in the 70s. He might be better suited playing in the cornerback role. We might have to have two safeties on the field. I don't know yet, but McQueen is really, really nice. Strong safety. Again, it's kind of hurting. We might actually have to roll with McQueen and Parham as our two safeties starting. Special teams, we got Alexei Kovalchuk. I don't even know what he is. Ukrainian, Russian, somewhere out there, but we're able to get him come in. This guy got a great leg, solid leg. And we're going to probably, just to know that we're always going to be getting points on our drives is pretty important to me. And then we got Javon Hopkins, redshirt freshman, punter. Great athlete. I'm telling you right now, you're not going to find a better athlete at punter in college football. As far as an actual punter, it's a work in progress, but fake punts are totally a legitimate play with this guy out there on special teams. So now that you met the team, let's finish up with our schedule, and then I could get to recruiting and show you guys my work a little bit later in the week. So I'm starting with a bye. I just want to focus primarily right out the gate with recruiting. It has to get done, and I'd rather just have that extra week of preparation, an extra week to make sure we have the best available depth chart possible. So that's a big get, and I can tell that some of these teams that we kind of scuffed our nose out and said, we're not going there, they rallied hard to get us scheduled. So we got UAB as our opening game here, week 2. Week 3, Florida International. Nice little battle of Florida. Try to get a little bit of foothold. That should help with recruiting. Week 4, we got North Texas. Okay, UAB North Texas, you salty? You salty you didn't get Savage U? It's fine. We got an FCS competition. I rallied very, very hard to get this game scheduled against Florida State. I really want a marker to see where we're up against, one of the premier schools, at least established schools. Obviously, maybe the last couple of years they haven't been so hot, but one of the more established schools in Florida. So that is going to be our biggest game without a doubt during the season. Another FCS team. We got South Alabama, Florida Atlantic, Utah. I'm trying to schedule pretty much as many Florida games as I can just to help us out with recruiting, especially when it comes to that second tier. The Florida Nationals, the Florida Atlantics. UCF didn't want to play us, bunch of pussies, but we got Florida Atlantic and all these other schools that should hopefully, kind of separate us year one, establishing ourselves as a legitimate Florida school to help with, at least the 3 stars, 2 3-star, maybe even a couple 4-star recruits. UTEP, we got Pittsburgh. I played at both Rutgers and Pittsburgh. Rutgers didn't want to play us, but we got a game against Pitt, and probably, you would argue, probably our second toughest game after Florida State. I would love to go there and welcome Pitt, welcome some of the guys, some of my old coaches, and smash them. Absolutely wipe the floor at them. That would be a big way to kick off the final stretch of the season. We get another FCS game. Georgia Tech could be pretty tough. I'm not going to lie. Week 13, I don't know if we're going to... My plan is to be bowl eligible. I know these nerds behind the scenes are giving us a strength of schedule of F, but we went week 13, the strongest team we could get on paper. Georgia Tech, their weird whatever offense, just... I don't even know. How about have more fullbacks on the field, Georgia Tech? Hey, you Bs. Your team is a B, okay? It's pathetic. Then we got to bye week 14. Maybe we're playing for a conference championship. Maybe we get into a bowl game. It's going to be a long road. But there's a reason why I took this job. It's because I'm going to make them something special. So thank you guys for watching this episode. Thank you for just getting in on this journey before we take off and make Miami Tech Vice into, along with my coaches, Pac-Man Jones, P.L. Mons, this is going to be something special. We're going to make something special, and you're going to see what kind of recruiting we can do. All these other people. We got 2 pros. Pac-Man did it in the show. I did it in the show. P.L. Mullins did it in the show. Once we get this foothold in Florida, it's game over. Florida State, UCF, Florida Gators, we're coming for your heads. That's a promise. That is a promise from Tom Savage to you guys. So thank you guys for watching. As always, first time stopping by, don't be afraid to hit that subscribe button. Smash that like button if you enjoyed. And until next time, later.